Have you ever reached a point in your life where you wake up every morning and ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? You have goals, you have dreams, but somehow the motivation that once drove you forward seems to have disappeared. The truth is, feeling lost is not a sign that you're failing. It's often a sign that you're growing. Because growth begins the moment the old version of your life no longer fits, but the new version hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Most people think motivation comes first and action comes second. But what if that's backwards? What if motivation isn't something you find? What if it's something you create through purpose, through small steps, and through remembering why you started in the first place? Today, I want to share with you how to get motivated when you feel lost, confused, and uncertain about your future. Because feeling lost doesn't mean you've reached the end of your journey. Sometimes it means you're standing at the beginning of the most important chapter of your life. So if you're searching for direction, clarity, and the drive to move forward again, then stay with me. This message is for you. There comes a moment in almost everyone's life when the path ahead no longer feels clear. You look around and see other people moving with confidence, chasing goals, building careers, creating businesses, forming relationships, and achieving milestones. Meanwhile, you feel stuck, uncertain, and disconnected from the direction you thought your life would take. It can be frustrating. It can be confusing. And for many people, it can be frightening. The reason it feels so uncomfortable is because we have been taught to believe that successful people always know exactly where they are going. We assume that confidence means certainty and that uncertainty means something is wrong. But the reality is very different. Feeling lost is not an exception to the human experience. It is a natural part of it. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has gone through periods where they questioned themselves, doubted their decisions, and wondered if they were on the right path. The difference is not that they avoided those moments. The difference is that they understood those moments had value. Growth rarely happens when everything is predictable and comfortable. Growth begins when the familiar starts to feel limiting. It begins when old habits no longer serve you, when old goals no longer inspire you, and when the identity you have been carrying starts to feel too small for the person you are becoming. That transition often feels like being lost because the next version of your life has not fully taken shape yet. Think about how a seed grows into a tree. Before anyone sees the branches, leaves, or fruit, everything happens beneath the surface. There is a period when no visible progress can be seen. If you judge the process from the outside, it might appear as though nothing is happening at all. Yet that hidden stage is where the foundation is being built. Human growth often works the same way. Some of the most important transformations happen internally before they become visible externally. When people feel lost, they often become impatient with themselves. They want immediate answers. They want a clear roadmap. They want certainty about what comes next. But life does not always provide clarity in advance. More often, clarity comes through experience. It comes through trying, failing, learning, adjusting, and continuing forward. The expectation that you must have everything figured out before taking action can keep you trapped in place for far longer than necessary. Many people spend years criticizing themselves for not knowing exactly what they want. They compare their journey to others and assume they are falling behind. What they fail to realize is that comparison creates a distorted picture. You see the results of someone else's journey, but you rarely see the confusion, fear, setbacks, and uncertainty they experienced along the way. Every successful person has chapters of their story that are filled with doubt. Those chapters simply do not receive as much attention as the moments of achievement. Feeling lost can also be a sign that your perspective is changing. The things that once excited you may no longer excite you. The goals you once pursued may no longer feel meaningful. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are evolving. As people grow, their priorities change, their values change, their understanding of success changes. The challenge is that there is often a gap between letting go of the old and discovering the new. That gap can feel uncomfortable because it lacks certainty. The discomfort of being lost often creates pressure to rush into decisions. People convince themselves they need immediate answers. They jump from one goal to another, hoping something will instantly provide direction. But growth is not always about finding answers quickly. Sometimes growth is about developing the patience to sit with questions long enough to discover deeper truths about yourself. There is also a hidden gift inside uncertainty. When everything is certain, There is little reason to explore. There is little reason to challenge assumptions or expand your perspective. Uncertainty forces you to think differently. It pushes you to learn, adapt, and become more resilient. It encourages self-discovery. It invites you to question who you are, what you value, and what kind of life you truly want to create. Some of the most meaningful breakthroughs happen during periods that initially feel like setbacks. A career disappointment can reveal a more fulfilling path. A personal struggle can uncover inner strength. A failed plan can lead to opportunities that never would have existed otherwise. In the moment, these experiences feel painful and confusing. Looking back, many people realize those difficult periods were turning points that shaped their future in powerful ways. The reason feeling lost is connected to growth is because growth requires change, and change requires leaving behind what is familiar. Human beings naturally seek certainty and stability. We want guarantees, we want reassurance. Yet every major transformation involves stepping into the unknown. Whether it is starting a new career, building a business, learning a skill, or pursuing a dream, there is always a period where the outcome is unclear. Instead of viewing uncertainty as evidence that something is wrong, it can be viewed as evidence that something new is beginning to emerge. The confusion you feel today may be a sign that old limitations are being challenged. The questions you are asking may be signs that your thinking is expanding. The discomfort you are experiencing may be proof that you are moving beyond what is familiar and stepping toward greater possibilities. Being lost does not mean you have no future. It does not mean you lack potential. It does not mean you are incapable of success. It often means you are standing in the middle of a transition, moving between who you were and who you are becoming. The path may not be visible yet, but the process of growth is already underway. One of the biggest reasons people lose motivation is not because they are lazy, incapable, or lacking talent. It is because they have lost connection with their why. They may still be working, studying, or chasing goals, but somewhere along the journey, they forgot the deeper reason they started in the first place. When the purpose disappears, the energy disappears with it. When the meaning fades, even simple tasks begin to feel heavy and exhausting. Most people focus on what they want. They focus on the promotion they want, the business they want to build, the money they want to earn, the body they want to achieve, or the success they want others to see. While goals are important, goals alone are often not enough to sustain motivation. Goals can inspire us for a short period of time, but purpose is what keeps us moving when the excitement wears off. Think about the difference between someone who works simply for a paycheck and someone who works because they believe in the impact of what they are doing. Both may perform similar tasks, but their experience is completely different. One is driven by obligation, while the other is driven by meaning. The person with a strong sense of purpose can endure challenges that would cause others to quit because they are connected to something larger than immediate rewards. When people feel lost, they often try to solve the problem by searching for more motivation. They watch videos, read books, listen to speeches, and consume endless advice. These things can provide temporary inspiration, but inspiration fades quickly when it is not connected to a personal purpose. Real motivation does not come from outside sources. It comes from understanding why your actions matter to you. Your why is not necessarily a grand mission that changes the world. Sometimes it is deeply personal. It may be the desire to provide a better life for your family. It may be the dream of creating freedom and independence. It may be the need to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. It may be the desire to leave a positive impact on others. What matters is not how impressive your reason sounds to other people. What matters is how meaningful it feels to you. Many people make the mistake of pursuing goals that belong to someone else. They chase expectations placed on them by society, family, friends, or social media. They pursue careers because they seem prestigious. They seek lifestyles because they appear successful from the outside. They follow paths because they think they are supposed to, not because those paths genuinely align with who they are. Over time, this creates a disconnect between their actions and their purpose. The result is often confusion. On paper, everything may look fine. They may have accomplishments, opportunities, and achievements, yet they still feel unfulfilled. The reason is simple. Achievement without purpose rarely creates lasting satisfaction. You can reach goals and still feel empty if those goals were never connected to your deeper values. Reconnecting with your why requires honesty. It requires asking yourself difficult questions. What truly matters to you? What kind of life do you want to create? What values do you want your decisions to reflect? What are the experiences, contributions, and accomplishments that would make you feel proud of how you spent your time? These questions do not always have immediate answers. Sometimes people spend years following a path before realizing it is not the path they truly want. Sometimes life experiences force them to reevaluate their priorities. Challenges, failures, setbacks, and unexpected events often reveal what matters most because they strip away distractions and bring attention back to what is essential. A purpose is not something you discover once and keep forever. It evolves as you evolve. The reason that motivated you at 20 years old may not be the same reason that motivates you at 40. As your experiences shape you, your understanding of what matters can change. Reconnecting with your why is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process of reflection and self-awareness. When your purpose is clear, obstacles begin to look different. Challenges do not disappear, but they become easier to endure because you understand what you are working toward. Difficult days feel more manageable because they are connected to something meaningful. Sacrifices feel worthwhile because they serve a larger vision. This is why two people can face the same difficulty and respond in completely different ways. One person gives up at the first sign of resistance, while the other continues forward despite setbacks. The difference is often not talent, intelligence, or luck. The difference is purpose. The person who knows why they are doing something can tolerate far more discomfort than the person who does not. Purpose also creates direction. Without a clear reason for your actions, every opportunity looks equally important. Every distraction becomes tempting. Every setback feels devastating. But when you know your why, decisions become clearer. You can evaluate choices based on whether they move you closer to or further from what truly matters. Many people wait until they feel motivated before taking action. In reality, reconnecting with your purpose often comes through action itself. As you explore new experiences, develop new skills, and challenge yourself in new ways, you gain a deeper understanding of what drives you. Clarity grows through engagement with life, not through endless waiting. Your why becomes a source of resilience during uncertain times. When results are slow, purpose keeps you moving. When doubts appear, purpose reminds you why you started. When circumstances become difficult, purpose provides a reason to continue. It serves as an anchor during moments when external motivation is nowhere to be found. A person with a strong sense of purpose does not depend entirely on mood, circumstances, or temporary inspiration. They understand that motivation rises and falls. They understand that emotions change. They understand that progress is not always exciting. But they continue because their commitment is rooted in something deeper than how they feel on any particular day. The moment you reconnect with a meaningful reason behind your actions, your perspective begins to shift. Tasks that once felt pointless gain significance. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become part of a larger journey. Effort becomes easier to sustain because it is connected to values, beliefs, and aspirations that genuinely matter to you. One of the most common mistakes people make when they feel lost is believing that motivation must come before action. They sit and wait for the perfect feeling, the perfect mood, or the perfect moment to arrive. They tell themselves that once they feel inspired, confident, or energized, they will finally start working toward their goals. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and sometimes months turn into years because they are waiting for something that was never meant to come first. Many people imagine motivation as a magical force that suddenly appears and pushes them into action. They think successful people wake up every day feeling excited, focused, and ready to conquer the world. The reality is much different. Even highly successful individuals experience doubt, fear, uncertainty, and lack of enthusiasm. The difference is that they do not allow those feelings to determine whether they take action. They understand a powerful truth action often creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about how difficult it can feel to start something important. Whether it is exercising, studying, working on a business, learning a new skill, or pursuing a dream, the beginning is usually the hardest part. Before you start, your mind tends to focus on the effort required, the possibility of failure, and the discomfort you might experience. Everything feels larger and more intimidating than it actually is. The moment you begin, something starts to change. Progress creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates motivation. What seemed impossible before often feels manageable after you take the first step. The challenge is that most people never experience this shift because they remain stuck in the waiting phase. The human brain naturally seeks comfort. It prefers familiar routines and predictable outcomes. Taking action often requires stepping into uncertainty, and uncertainty can trigger fear. To protect us from discomfort, the mind creates excuses that sound reasonable. It tells us we need more preparation. It tells us we need more confidence. It tells us we should wait for better conditions. These excuses can feel logical, but they often serve as barriers that prevent growth. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a swimming pool who wants to learn how to swim. They can read books about swimming. They can watch videos. They can listen to experts explain techniques. They can spend hours preparing. But eventually, they must enter the water. No amount of waiting will replace the experience of taking action. The same principle applies to nearly every area of life. People often believe that motivated individuals are different from everyone else. They assume these individuals possess special qualities that make action easy. What they fail to see is that many motivated people simply develop the habit of acting regardless of how they feel. They learn that feelings are unreliable guides. Some days they feel energized, and other days they do not. Yet they continue, because they understand that consistency matters more than emotion. Waiting for motivation can become a dangerous cycle. You do not take action because you lack motivation. Because you do not take action, you see no progress. Because you